Here we are again today, getting the rest of the car, or rest of the chassis stripped down to get it ready to go to get the rust proofing done by our good mate Laurie down at the Caloundra Rust Protection. So we just got to get the gearbox out, the engine out, and the tow bar off, and we're ready to go. Yeah. What do you got left? Just these? Just got these bolts here to do.
You've got to love Nick's enthusiasm for the project, haven't you? I mean, this is fantastic. He even managed to con Nick, the other Nick Ball, into coming out and giving a hand too. Not that it takes a lot of conning at this place. These guys just love their four-wheel drives. I mean, get a load of Nick's comp truck in the background there. I mean, the only problem with it is it's a Nissan. I never said that. But look at this. The old 40 series is going to come back to life thanks to these guys. It really is. And you know what? They're doing things properly. I never did this with Milo, and I got years and years and years out of it. Well, I did do an awful lot of hitting it with a hammer, I suppose, and you know there was plenty of stuff went into it over the years, but nothing as thorough as this.
Basically, now we've got the back off. We have to now get the bull bar off. Now, some of the bolts are stuck, so we're going to have to cut them off and get this grill off that we had a bit of trouble with last time. So I'll get the 4-inch out and give it a cut.
Well, as you can see, there's an awful lot of dead metal coming off this truck, and so far, you know, we've only had one body mount that was really bad, but some of these exposed bolts on the bull bar, they're not good at all. They're going to have to be cut off. But that's fair enough. It'll never be going back on. You can have this. Does someone need a gate out there? There's a gate going here.
Right. So the bolt turned and broke my blade. And unfortunately at the moment I don't have another blade, so I've got to go to my smaller one that will finish the job off.
Yeah, Nick's making it look pretty easy, but you know what? This is the stuff that really takes the time. And you've got to be really careful too. I mean, he's wearing ear protection and eye protection, and that's a whole lot better than me most of the time. But you know what? When you see a disc explode like that, that's when you really know you do need some protection.
Well, the weight of the gate.
No one used to worry about how heavy bar work was, you know. I mean, you're chucking it on a four-wheel drive, it'll take it. But these days, we really appreciate the importance of it. And part of that importance is that you don't need all this protection, and you do probably want to stick a winch on it, don't you? So while we're working on Milo 2, this classic limo pulled in for a quick tune-up. I mean, you know, it's the sort of thing you expect up at OL Caloundra because the guys are really well known for their mechanical ability. And someone who owns something like this really wants to take care of it. But get a load of that motor, folks. Yep, spitting image of the old 2F Toyota engine. You know what that means? Somewhere down the line, I don't know what this car is, but it must be a Chev of some sort because originally the 2F was copied straight off the drawing board of the old Chevrolet. In fact, the head gaskets will fit. You know what that means, don't you? This limo would be pretty good off-road. Now, this front panel was a real pain in the backside when we pulled the body off. I don't know if you remember that, but it was. So Nick's getting stuck right into it, and I don't care. You know, I'm quite happy if he destroys it. You know why, don't you? Because it's fiberglass, and it surely won't be going back on. In fact, that's what I'm doing right at the moment. I'm looking around for another one. I know I've got one in the shed. I just don't know where the handbrake's buried it. But it's funny, because underneath this grill, you know what we found? We found that the radiator is actually better than the one that's in my mate Simon's 60, or the one that he replaced anyway. Look at that. Just goes to show someone's replaced this radiator in the last few years. But that doesn't worry me. It's going to be a spare part. It's not going back in. Right,
so we've got the tow bar off now. We've removed the shocks. Basically we're just going to move the tail shaft and the front drive shaft off. And then start unbolting the rest of the motor and the exhaust off and pull it all out.
There you go. We figured someone had worked over the cooling system and they've fitted the later series fan too. It's got more blades. That'll draw more air through.
So basically the front of the engine here obviously is the bottom pulley that is on the crankshaft. It's got a lot of rust in here. We've got driven on the roads with this on here, it must be full off.
Yep, there's an awful lot on this truck, won't be going back on. And that motor and that pulley is definitely part of it. But meanwhile, we want to know about the drive shafts. I mean, with a bit of luck, they'll be reusable, depending on how the new engine, gearbox and transfer all fits in there. If nothing else, we'll be hanging on to them because they'll probably find that we can lengthen or shorten them. Just depends, you know, that's a job for another day, but you should be getting all sorts of new wearable bits in there, I can tell you.
What's happened is in here, it's like a slip joint. So that's meant to go basically in and out of each other. But at the moment it's actually, it's like it's all the way in. So when the car goes up and down suspension, that's meant to go in and out. But it's actually all the way in. So I'm having trouble trying to get the tail shaft off because of it. So that's meant to go in and out. So when the suspension's going up and down, they'll be going up and down like that. And it's going up and down. And the suspension's going up and down. But it's obviously jammed. Very greased though. Pop the front one off. Again, the front one's off. Right, well this is the shorter one obviously that goes to the front to apply the power to the front CVs and axles. This one seems okay, the unit joints feel good, but this one goes in and out nice and easy. So this was really easy to get out, this one. So we'll get this one out of the way so we can do the rest of our work. Right, so one more thing we have to do is just take off the exhaust pipe. So we're going to cut it off because I don't want to bolt it or unbolt it. Then once that's cut off, we'll be able to lift the motor out and put it on a pallet.
Ooh, I'm getting one of those air saws. That is the ultimate. Hang on, Nick, you're using it like a hand saw. That's what I'd be doing too. Anyway, doesn't matter. None of this exhaust is going anywhere near Milo 2. It's going to have a flash pipe. You can believe it.
Alright, so at the moment I'm going to be setting the chain up to lift it off with the forklift and then get it onto our pallet. So can undo a few little bolts just to accomplish that.
Now the real trick here is to make sure it doesn't drop on your foot, okay? So you want to make sure that you've got really secure attachments when you're lifting an engine. They weigh an awful lot, as anyone who's tried to move one around knows. But the other trick is to make sure that it's balanced, because when you pick it up, you don't want it hanging one end or the other. You want it to kind of lift up reasonably central. Mind you, Nick's going to be using a forklift to do this. Oh, lucky guy.
So now we're ready to lift her out. Hopefully it holds.
Now the whole idea of this job is to get the chassis ready for the rust proofer. Most of these parts we're not going to use again. That motor will be going off to my mate Paul Reed because he likes old 40 series stuff, and no doubt somewhere down the line, you know, we'll swap a few bits with him one way or the other. I actually like the 2F motor, but it's not my idea of a serious engine for the sort of work that Milo 2 is going to be doing. For that, I'm sorry guys, but you need a diesel, especially in an old truck like this. That's a 10 mile to the gallon engine that we're pulling out here, and one of those ones that doesn't run underwater. Well, that's just not good enough. But before long, Nick's got it sorted out with the forklift. Now, there's a little bit of an issue here, because once it's under tension, Nick's figured that one of the engine mounts is sticking. This is not unusual, you know, they tend to do that, but that's all right. He's got it sussed pretty quick. Now it's just a question of getting it out of there. And you can see he's taking his time. That's because there's always something you've forgotten to disconnect. Well, in this case, it looks like there isn't. It's going to come out pretty easy. Now, anyone who's ever pulled an engine out about now is going to be going, gee, it's easy when you've got no body on the truck. Oh, isn't it just? I think every time I've done it with the body on. And look at this, with the forklift, she's up and away, and on its way over to the pallet. No worries at all. Hey Nick, how's the gearbox feel? Right, From here on in, it's just going to be a question of pulling off extra stuff. We're never going to use these fuel lines, so they can come off. It's all about getting this chassis ready to go up to Laurie, who's just a little bit up the street, and get it rust-proof properly.
This is Laurie from Caloundra Rust Proofing. He's going to do the obviously the rust proofing on this vehicle for us. So Laurie, what do you think of the chassis so far for Milo 2?
It's pretty strong looking.
Yeah?
Fairly good job cleaning it up.
Yeah, big job.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yep.
Yeah, she's pretty good, eh? It'll come up nice.
So you'll go through the chassis, will you, with all your sprays and
Yeah,
get the clean up?
Get all this flaky gunk off first, all that stuff.
Yep.
Clean it up properly, seal it up so you can finish what you've got to do.
Yes, yep.
We'll
Awesome.
seal it up with a clear converter type stuff. And let you do whatever you've got to do, then we'll spray the black tarry finish over the top,
Yep, awesome.
which is actually a sacrificial coating,
That's it. Yep,
but
yep.
it does a very good job.
Awesome. No worries, right. Well, we'll get it out here and push it down to your shop, mate.
So there you go. Laurie's rust proofing is a 3-stage process. First of all, everything's got to be steam cleaned, then it gets coated the first time, and then it gets a sacrificial coat at the final operation. At this stage, we're just going to do the first 2 because Laurie really knows his stuff and he knows that Nick's going to be mucking around with the chassis. I'll tell you what, get a load of that, eh? That is a reliable Toyota on its way to the rust proofers. Oh, I never got a chance to do this with Milo. Could have made all the difference. Yeah, and it's going to too. Milo 2, this is the way to go. I've got to tell you folks, I'm loving every bit of this, I really am.